In this photo, we see two men sitting at an outdoor picnic table. The one on the right is seated. He's holding a clock in his hand and a pipe in his other hand. And there's another man who is seated to the left. He has a teapot in his hand and what looks like a Smirnoff, some type of alcoholic drink in his hand that he's pouring into the teapot. Based on the look of the photo, it definitely looks like the tea party from Alice in Wonderland and that whole set. It definitely looks just like that. And you have the character here on the left. He's wearing like three or four different hats, and the guy on the right also has a hat on. And you can tell, with the clock present and just all of the teacup and the different myriad of things on the table here, that it's definitely supposed to be based off of Alice in Wonderland's Mad Hatter's Tea Party. And while one character here, he's looking into the clock, kind of watching the time pass, the other character is looking directly into the camera. Another thing that you might notice in the photo is that directly in the background there's this large tree and kind of a storage building, which may or may not have had any significance, but it's right here in the middle of the photograph. The man on the left here is sitting on a tree stump, while the other one is sitting kind of on a fancy chair. Gives a sense of eclectic collections almost, where this is just kind of a out there kind of party. As far as the interpretation of the photo, when you look at it, it almost seems to bring up a discussion of drug and alcohol use. And the message that's being sent here is not one of negativity that you usually find when people discuss drug and alcohol abuse. The the lighting is pleasant. This seems like a friendly afternoon tea party. The tone is playful, accepted, or there's acceptance of the usage of drugs on the table or drinks in hand. And especially with the message of time with the clock. You see one character here holding the clock and he's watching time pass, and there could be a message about that as time passes, that maybe it's something you do or do not notice while you're using drugs or alcohol. And there's also definitely the presence of a Mad Hatter character here. The phrase down the rabbit hole is almost kind of something that you're looking at here, which is a common phrase used typically with harder drugs, but we find, some different different types of drugs, all types of drinks and things on the table. So, not sure of what the message is, but there's definitely some type of exposure to that type of reality. And the only thing that I might want to criticize or change about the photograph is to maybe play more with the angle. It's hard to see the contents of the table. You can kind of see what's laid out here, but you're almost level with it, a little bit above it, but it's still kind of difficult to see exactly what's on the table. And there's a lot of focus on this building and tree in the background when you first look at the image. It's almost distracting from the focal point of your photo. So that might be the only thing that I would work with, is to look at different angles and play around with how that changes the mood or effect of the photo.